Good afternoon and welcome to City News. It's 3:30 on Monday the 22nd of February. I'm Georgia Reynolds.
And I'm Jessica Nangle. On today's show, Boris Johnson has revealed his support of the UK leaving the European Union.
An exclusive report from behind the scenes at this year's London Fashion Week.
Plans for new cycle routes have been secured by Islington Council.
And today sees the start of London's Beer Week.
But firstly, Boris Johnson will oppose David Cameron and his campaign to leave the EU this summer. Our political reporter, Ayub Nui News, spoke to former Conservative Youth Parliament member to find out more.
If you look at the comments made by his dad, who was a very respected politician too, and an environmentalist as well, he said that this is the worst move that Boris Johnson could have done. Now, Boris Johnson, to have left the cabinet, what he has done is he's done a massive setback for himself in terms of gaining the leadership. If he wanted to gain the leadership, I think the cabinet would have been his best route to it. And that could be proven because he got promoted to a cabinet member he was a London mayor at the time. So I don't think it's a political stunt. I think what he is proving his point. He's always been very passionate about the issue of the EU, very passionate about the issues of the environment. And I think today's events have just proven that.
But are Boris Johnson's intentions politically motivated? Zain Al-Janabi headed to Islington to get views from local residents.
Boris Johnson has revealed he will campaign for Britain to leave the EU in a major blow to the Prime Minister. The decision made by the London Mayor ends months of speculation and represents a huge coup for the Leave campaign, given his broad appeal among voters. Mr. Johnson informed the Prime Minister by text just 9 minutes before making his statement. While he told reporters David Cameron had done fantastically well in the deal he reached with Brussels, he added no one could realistically claim that this is fundamental reform of the EU.
To be honest, I really fully agree with Boris Johnson. I think he's more in touch with the general feeling of the people of the UK. For me, I think we've wasted a lot of money being in the EU. And while I'm happy for people to come over here, they've got to contribute and they've got to integrate. Also, with the Schengen Agreement, I think the million refugees that they've let into Germany, for example, once they get a German passport, they'll be able to come everywhere, and we're not in a very strong position to knock them back.
I don't think Britain should be part of the European Union anymore. I think that was a deal we made many years ago that was valid then, but it's like if you're in a club and that club isn't working, then you should leave that club. And I would say I'm not a fan of Boris Johnson personally, but if that's his decision to leave the European Union, I would back that. I would say that's a smart move, man.
Mr. Johnson said, "The last thing I wanted was to go against David Cameron or the government, but after a great deal of heartache, I don't think there is anything else I can do." Lib Dems Assembly member Stephen Knight has criticised Boris Johnson's move and states that as a mayor of London, Boris has adopted an economic strategy that says the UK's relationship with the EU is vital to London's success. Sadly, his decision to back the Leave campaign appears to put his political career ahead of London's economic interest.
The timing of Boris Johnson's announcement to back the Leave EU campaign has been interpreted as a politically motivated decision. But whether it's going to have an impact on the referendum's bigger picture is something which remains to be seen. Zain Al-Janabi, City News, London.
This year's London Fashion Week is coming to a close. You actually had a chance to go, didn't you, Jess?
Yeah, I did, and I had a really good time. I got to see everything from a different perspective.
Yeah, let's see how you got on.
On this rather rainy Monday morning, I'm here outside Brewer Car Park, the hub of London Fashion Week. People are flocking far and wide to see the latest trends from the top designers. I spoke to Filippo La Astorina, the editor and founder of The Upcoming, an online fashion and culture magazine, to see what it's really like behind the scenes.
It's about up-and-coming designers compared to the other ones, which have like much bigger designers. Yeah, so that's why more cutting edge could be more interesting, especially for people who actually are going to buy from like shops on the street.
It's the 5th day of London Fashion Week, and those working behind the scenes are braving the London weather to be part of the experience. But what is it like working for one of the biggest events on the London calendar? And is it as glamorous as it first appears?
It's really exciting, working with the fashion industry. And, it happens only twice a year, February and September. So we all wait for that moment. It's 5 very intense days. it starts like with a lot of excitement, and by the end of it, it starts to get a little tired, but it's fun.
I chatted to the representatives of the Fashion Week Daily team, who are producing the official newspaper for London Fashion Week. They described the buzz of the event and how the people make the experience what it is.
I think the people really make it, the style, the editors, the bloggers. Just being in the fashion vibe's amazing.
It's got a buzz, there's a buzz, a certain vibration, you just, drawn to it.
Whatever the weather, London Fashion Week is in full swing, and not even the rain can put a dampener on the newest trends being revealed to an eager audience. Jessica Nangle, City News.
So will you be going back before the week is out?
Yeah, I'll be going tomorrow to see the finale.
Headscarves brightened up the runway this weekend at London Fashion Week. For the first time ever, Muslim attire was showcased by Diane Pelangi. The designer is reinventing fashion for Muslim women with 14 stores and 2.5 million Instagram followers. Our fashion reporter, Sophia Kachu, got an exclusive interview backstage with the fashion guru herself.
The collection is inspired by the culture of 3 countries because this is a collaboration between me and Nelly Rose from London, from the UK, and then Odette Steele from Africa, from Zambia, and I'm from Indonesia, from Jakarta. So we combine the 3 culture in one theme of collection named Co-Identity. It's a collaboration of identity. This is the first time that modest fashion been shown in the Fashion Week, so I think it's a good start for us modest fashion designers to expand our market and show them that the beauty of our modest fashion. They can mix and match without having to wear the headscarf. I think it's a good, it's a new market. It's a good, it's a different thing. Yeah.
Still to come, London's Beer Week hits the pubs, and Sophia has the latest with the weather.
But firstly, Islington Council has secured £2 million from Transport of London to improve cycle routes in the borough. The aim of the funding is to connect Islington to the rest of London, and 5 new cycle routes are planned to be delivered by the end of 2016. Christine Forsberg reports.
Islington Council wants to create convenient, safer and more direct cycle routes for all cyclists in the borough. The routes are planned around Finsbury and Old Street. Look Mom No Hands is a cafe and bike repair shop in Barbican. Their mechanic Luke welcomes the new plans as he doesn't feel safe cycling in Islington.
I'd say it's reasonably dangerous at times, especially peak times during the day. So yeah, they could be doing more to improve the road safety and stuff for cyclists, so it's pretty good.
Luke thinks the new cycling routes will encourage more people to cycle.
I think so. Segregating cyclists from cars and buses is always a good thing, so yeah, it'll be a good thing for sure. Yeah.
James Nelson is the manager of the repair shop The Bicycle Man.
I'm not really expert enough to know whether 2 million is a significant sum in that kind of world, but it sounds like a good start. I think they're probably better than in some boroughs of London, but fairly standard.
The council is holding 2 drop-in sessions about the plans in Finsbury Square on February 24th and at the Promenade by Light on March 2nd. Both are running from 11 AM to 2 PM. The consultation runs until March 13th. Christine Forsberg for City News.
London's Beer Week is hitting the town with over 100 bars offering a special brew of their own for the week. Michael Jennings had the difficult task of testing out the beers they had on offer.
It might be a grey Monday outside, but the capital is already back on it for the start of London Beer Week. And I've got the hard job of testing what is so special about these specialty beers.
We've started our bar crawl at the Free Johns in Angel, where they are serving their own craft beer, the Anspach and Hob Day versus the Free Johns Ghost. Jason Atherton, manager at the pub, told us about their specialty beer for the week.
This is the beer that we brewed with Anspach and Hob Day for London Beer Week. It's kind of like a a modern take on a very traditional style of beer, a gose, which is sour and also salty as well. Also comes in a little bit stronger at 4.7%, whereas a traditional gose is normally kind of the lower sort of 3.5 to the upper end, maybe 3.8%. So yeah, it's going to be a really, really interesting beer. I think loads of flavour, really refreshing.
In the past year, 204 new craft breweries have opened up in the UK, taking the total to over 1,400, the highest amount since the 1930s. But have pubs noticed more people having a crafty one?
Still, our bread and butter is, volumes of lager, essentially. But we do find a lot more people, particularly this little sort of pocket of Angel. You can come down and go to some really, really good pubs, and I think we all sort of bounce off each other, and it gives the whole area a bit more diversity on the drinking scene.
So with Islington's pubs encouraging people to get out and try specialty beers this week, who are we to say no? Michael Jennings, City News.
Well, he certainly looked like he had a good afternoon. The Crossrail project is bringing a £42 billion boost to the Farringdon area. As a result, a new Businesses Improvement District has been proposed, but it is up to local businesses to vote whether to launch it or not. Our reporter, Ludovica Tronchi, has more.
The Farringdon and Clerkenwell area will soon become home to one of the most significant stations in the capital, thanks to its Crossrail extension scheme. 27 million people are expected to pass through the gates when the renovations are completed. The Greater London Assembly hopes that this will bring massive benefits to local businesses. A new BID, a Business Improvement District, has been launched to give them a voice, and more than 100 businesses will be able to vote on it. The proposal includes maximizing opportunities, security improvements, and nurture the business strength of the district.
I think obviously this business improvement is kind of good for the area. In terms of this area, it's vibrant. You've got a lot of kind of new companies, and you've got a kind of eclectic mix of professionals, young professionals, people that are in the restaurant trade. So obviously in terms of the kind of Crossrail kind of expanding, obviously that'll bring an influx of kind of new people that are really familiar with this area. So I'm happy about it. I would definitely vote yes.
In general, it sounds like a really good idea. I like the idea of all the local businesses getting together and seeing how we can utilise what will probably be an increased amount of people coming to the area, living in the area, and those people are going to want to have nice high streets of shops and more shops that they can go to locally on their doorsteps rather than going into town or online shopping. I probably will vote yes, so I think it's a good idea.
Farringdon Station will be upgraded by 2019. In the meantime, businesses will have until the 17th of March of this year to vote online. If a majority backs the first 4 years of the scheme, works will begin in May 2016. This is Ludovica Tronchi, City News.
David Cameron reached an agreement between the UK and the European Union after lengthy negotiations in Brussels last week. But a leading non-governmental organisation warns recent Eurosceptic attitudes put in danger one of the most important UK laws. Juliana Boyanova went to the Save the Human Rights Act event at City University this week to find out more.
Treaty change and a compromise over benefits for EU migrants and their children are the promises David Cameron got from the EU last week. While the Conservatives split over UK's relationship with the EU, a leading NGO warns the Human Rights Act is in danger because of increasing Eurosceptic attitudes. Lisa Inkenden, a campaigner for Amnesty International, came to City University London this week. She discussed with students why it is crucial to keep the Act, which ensures every individual in the UK has the right for freedom, security and fair treatment.
If the Human Rights Act is scrapped, then that will mean that people can't rely on those rights. They can't go to the courts in the UK to enforce their convention rights, which is really important protection. That will affect young people, it will affect all people in the UK, it will impact on young people and their rights, things like the right to education, the right to family life, rights that are really key for young people and that will be lost if the Human Rights Act is scrapped.
The Human Rights Act was initially adopted to protect individuals against abuses after the Second World War. While the government's plans to replace the Act with the British Bill of Rights, activists such as Becca Julier are trying to inform young people about it.
I think the Human Rights Act is an issue that lots of students don't know about, and I just wanted to raise awareness of the campaign that's going on and why we need to protect it.
The Human Rights Act is surely a controversial subject and is going to spark off heated debates in the future. What City University Amnesty Society is planning to do in the future is to raise even more awareness among students using social media campaigns. This is Juliana Buenova, City News.
Who said that religion and LGBT culture did not go together? This year, Islington combines both. Barbara Boy reports.
Until the 5th of March 2016, the Islington Museum is hosting Twilight People, Stories of Faith and Gender Beyond the Binary. The prominent trans campaigner and founder of Twilight People, Suraj Santnan, tells us about the success of the exhibition.
It's fairly a pioneering project, and it's been an amazing month ever since it was launched. We got quite a lot of attention in media, but also the public, and people have been, reported back they entered the space and they've just like broken out into tears because they were so touched by the actual, just by people opening up their stories and by seeing people as people and not these kind of strange people of faith, these strange trans people that seem to be sort of more in the media, often medical objects or subjects, and on the other hand, people of faith who also, for example, in the LGBT community, there's a lot of stigma. If you come out as a person of faith, they think like something is a bit wrong with you. That's happens a lot to me. People like, how come you can say that you actually practice religion and you're trans and you're queer? How does that work? Because religion hates queer people, and it's like, it's not so easy, So all this kind of thing, I think Twilight People is opening up to see these things from a different perspective and humanize us, because that's what it's all about.
Until the 5th of March 2016, the Islington Museum is hosting Twilight People.
Now, here is Sophia Kachu with the weather forecast.
This morning, most of us had our umbrellas out as we began the day with a very wet start. The good news is, however, that this rain is drying out for a more brighter afternoon. It's expected to be cloudy this evening with lows of 4 degrees Celsius. Travel warnings have been issued as Storm Gertrude threatens to wreak havoc in the southeast of England. Southwest Trains and Northern Rail have warned that all their services may be affected by the adverse weather as strong winds and heavy rain batter much of the country. While London is expected to miss the worst of this adverse weather, transport to and from our capital may be affected. The rest of the week is set to be windy and cloudy with lows of 0 degrees Celsius. Have a great week from all of us here at City News Weather Team. Back to you, ladies.
Peace. Whether you're visiting the final London Fashion Week shows or trying out our local beers, let us know on Twitter at St John Street News. Here at City News, we hope you have a good evening.
And that's all from us. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
It's been put on the wrong way round.